Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the repeat conference of 7 Civil Works Project and 3 for the consulting services. Which to start this procurement, may we all stand for prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we bow before your presence today with faith, humility, and thanksgiving for the chance to meet again. As we prepare to start this procurement activity, please send your Holy Spirit to guide us and may you fill us with wisdom and confidence as we conduct this activity. May you grant us the patience and understanding to remain resilient to life's challenges and face them with grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So once again, good morning. May I introduce you now to the members of the BAC, headed by our BAC Chairman, General Turo Pepose, our BAC Vice Chairman, Attorney Mary Rose Kilo, and BAC members, Engineer Wheeler Pince, and Engineer Rachel Lumagi. We have also here the members of the Technical Working Group, headed by Attorney Clarence Remando, and members, Engineer John Michael Hidalgo, Engineer John Halindawi. We have also representative from the planning division, and we have observer from NACAP, Sir Jose Lejo III. Morning, sir. Also with us is our IT support, Sir Juan Calvin. The majority of the BAC members are present. There's some of them, sir. None, sir.
Okay. Mentioned there is a call, the briefing conference for civil works and consultancy is now called. Good morning, everyone. Secretariat, we have the presentation.
So we start with the repeat conference for the Civil Works project. We have contract ID numbers 25B00566, the widening of permanent bridges, Santa Cruz Bridge, B00561 LJ along Manila North Road, 26A00007, retrofitting, strengthening of permanent bridges, Padsan Bridge, B04969 LJ along Rodolfo, Fariñas Bypass Road, 26A00073, retrofitting, strengthening of permanent bridges at Pablo Bridge, B04852 LJ along Manila North Road, 26A00079, retrofitting, strengthening of permanent bridges, Nagrebcan Bridge, B00663 LJ along Bacnotan-Luna-Balaoan Road, 26A00082, retrofitting, strengthening of permanent bridges, Bauang Bridge 1, B02644 LJ along Manila North Road, 26A00083, retrofitting, strengthening of permanent bridges, Bauang Bridge 2, B02645 LJ along Manila North Road, 26A00085, retrofitting, strengthening of permanent bridges, Plato Bridge, B05038 LJ along Pangasinan, Zambales Road.
Pre-bid conference. The pre-bid conference shall be held at least 12 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids, but not earlier than 7 calendar days from the PhilJob's posting of the invitation to bid or bidding documents. The pre-bid conference shall discuss, clarify, and explain, among other things, the eligibility requirements, and the technical and financial components of the procurement project, including questions and clarifications raised by the prospective bidders before and during the pre-bid conference. Request for clarifications on any part of the bidding documents or for an interpretation must be in writing and submitted to the back of the procuring entity concerned at least 10 calendar days before the deadline set for the submission and receipt of bids. The BAC shall respond to the said request by issuing a bid bulletin, duly signed by the BAC chairperson, to be made available to all those who have properly secured the bidding documents at least 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. For purpose of clarifying and modifying any provisions of the bidding documents, bid bulletins may be issued upon the procuring entity's initiative at least 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. Any modification to the bidding documents shall be identified as an amendment. Any bid bulletin issued by the BAC shall also be posted in the field jobs in any conspicuous place in the premises of the procuring entity and on the website or social platforms of the procuring entity if available, or such other channels as may be authorized by the GPPB. It shall be the responsibility of all those who have properly secured the bidding documents to inquire and secure bid bulletins that may be issued by the BAC. However, bidders who have submitted bids before the issuance of the bid bulletin must be informed and allowed to modify or withdraw their bids in accordance with the Section 55 of this IRR, Section 51.5.3 of IRR of Republic Act 12009.
Here are the following contract data. Contract ID number 25A00566, location Bacnotan, Ilocos Norte, with the ABC of 14,417,740 pesos and 71 centavos. The scope of works, we have the removal of old bridge structures, construction of board piles of abutment A and B, 1.2 meter diameter, pile integrity testing, low strain for completed board piles, high strain dynamic testing for completed board piles, widening of RCDB bridge on both sides with a width of 5.17 meter on each side, construction of abutment protection structure, RC revetment resting on steel sheet pile foundation, installation of longitudinal expansion joint, construction of decorative buttresses on approaches, contract duration of 165 calendar days, warranty 15 years. 26A00007, location Lawag, Ilocos Norte, with the ABC of 203,325,500 pesos. For the scope of work, so the epoxy injection for cracks and deck slab, carbon fiber plate on girders and midspan, application of special anti-corrosion paint in girders, patching of damaged concrete, installation of chain-type bridge and seating prevention restrainers, with the contract duration of 345 calendar days. 26A00073, location San Nicolas, Ilocos Norte, with the ABC of 5,106,780 pesos. For the scope of work, so the epoxy injection of traps, carbon fiber sheet, 2 layers, protective clothing for concrete structures, with the contract duration of 75 calendar days. The warranty, 15 years. 26A00079, location Balaoan, La Union, with the ABC of 10,213,560 pesos. For the scope of works of the epoxy injection on traps on deck slab, installation of carbon fiber sheet, 1 layer, installation of carbon fiber sheet, 2 layers, installation of carbon fiber plate application of protective coating on deck slab and girders, construction of bridge, seat extension, installation of elastomeric bearing pads, construction installation of solar LED roadway lights, application of reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings, with a contract duration of 86 calendar days and a warranty of 15 years. 26A00082, location Bauang, La Union, with the EBC of 6,690,900 pesos. For the scope of work, so the epoxy injection on tracks on deck slab, installation of expansion joint, application of paint on railings, application of reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings, with the contract duration of 80 calendar days and a warranty of 15 years. 26A00083, location Bauang, La Union, with the EBC of 6,690,900 pesos. For the scope of work, so the epoxy injection on tracks on deck slab, installation of expansion joint, application of paint on railings, application of reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings, with a contract duration of 80 calendar days, and a warranty of 15 years. 26A00085, location Infanta, Pangasinan, with the EBC of 8,681,140 pesos. For the scope of works, we have the epoxy injection and patching of tracks on deck slab, installation of carbon fiber sheet, 1 layer, installation of carbon fiber sheet, 2 layers, installation of carbon fiber plate, application of protective coating on deck slab and girders, construction of bridge seat extension, installation of elastomeric bearing pads, with a contract duration of 83 calendar days and a warranty of 15 years.
Eligibility requirements. Class A documents in case the bidder is not yet registered in DPWH. For legal documents, SEC, DTI or CDA, or also known as Cooperative Development Authority, Mayor's Permit, issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located. In cases of recently expired mayor's or business permit, it shall be accepted together with the official receipt as proof that the bidder has applied for renewal within the period prescribed by the concerned local government unit, provided that the renewed permit shall be submitted as a post-qualification requirement. Tax clearance certificate, as finally reviewed and approved by BIR. Technical documents. PCAB or Special PCAB license in case of joint venture. Records of completed contracts for both government and private. Records of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid, and shall be supported with notice of award and or contract, notice to proceed issued by the owner, and certificate of accomplishment signed by the owner or project engineer. Records of single largest completed contracts similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided under the rules, and shall be supported with contract, CPES rating sheets, and or certificate of completion and certificate of acceptance. Adjusted to current price using Philippine Statistics Authority Current Price Index. Should have a contract amount equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC. A contract shall be considered similar to the contract to be bid if it has the same major categories of work. For financial documents, A. audited financial statement stamp received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. B. Tax returns filed and taxes paid through the BIR electronic filing and payment system. C. Computation of NFCC of at least equal to ABC computed using the prescribed formula. NFCC is equal to the current assets minus current liabilities multiplied to 15 minus the value of unfinished projects including awarded projects not yet started coinciding with the contract to be bid. Per GPPB Resolution Number 18 Series of 2017, in lieu of the Class A eligibility documents which were uploaded and maintained current and updated in PhilJeps, bidders are required to submit their PhilJeps Certificate of Registration during bid submission in the case infrastructure projects pursuant to Section 20 of Republic Act 12009 and its IRR. Eligible bidders. For purposes of determining the eligibility of bidders using the criteria stated in Section 52.4 of Republic Act 12009, the prospective bidder shall submit its valid and updated PhilJeps Certificate of Registration pursuant to the requirements provided in Section 20 of Republic Act 12009. To ensure that the prospective bidder is technically and financially capable to undertake the procurement project, the BAC shall also require the submission of the following documents using the forms prescribed in the bidding documents. A. Statements of the bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the procurement project. B. Statement of the bidder's SLCC similar to the procurement project except under conditions provided for in sections 52.4.1.3 and 52.4.2.4 of this IRR within the relevant period as provided in the bidding documents in the case of goods. In case the prospective bidder is a joint venture, the following documents shall be required. A. Valid Joint Venture Agreement or JVA in case the joint venture is already in existence. In the absence of a JVA, duly notarized statements from all the potential joint venture partners shall be included in the bid, stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the JVA in the event that the bid is successful. Failure to enter into a joint venture in the event of a contract award shall be a ground for the forfeiture of the bid security. B. JV bidders shall submit a JVA in accordance with Republic Act Number 4566 or the Contractor's License Law and its IRR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit the respective PhilJeps Certificate of Registration in accordance with the Section 20.2.9.1 of this IRR. The submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitutes compliance, provided that the partner responsible to submit NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all of its ongoing contracts. The following persons or entities shall be allowed to participate in the bidding for infrastructure projects. A. Duly licensed Filipino citizens or sole proprietorships. B. Partnerships duly organized under the laws of the Philippines and of which at least 60% of the interest belongs to the citizens of the Philippines. C. Corporations duly organized under the laws of the Philippines and of which at least 60% of outstanding capital stock belongs to citizens of the Philippines. D. Cooperatives duly organized under the laws of the Philippines. Or E. Persons or entities forming themselves into a joint venture, for example, a group of 2 or more persons or entities that intend to be jointly and severally responsible or liable for a particular contract. Provided, however, that in accordance with Executive Order Number 65, Series of 2018, Filipino ownership or interest of the joint venture concerned shall be at least 60%. Provided further that joint ventures in which Filipino ownership or interest is less than 60% may be eligible where the structures to be built require the application of techniques or technologies which are not adequately possessed by a person or entity meeting the 60% Filipino ownership requirement. Provided further that in the latter case, Filipino ownership or interest shall not be less than 25%. For this purpose, Filipino ownership or interest shall be based on the contributions of each of the member of the joint venture as specified in their JVA. Provided, finally, that the primary purpose of each member of the joint venture must be similar or related to the requirement of the project to be bid out. In accordance with Republic Act No. 4566 or the Contractor's License Law as amended by Republic Act No. 11711 or an act further amending Republic Act No. 4566, the persons or entities enumerated in Section 52 of Republic Act 12009 may participate in the procurement or infrastructure projects if it has been issued a license by the PCAB to engage or act as a contractor. The bidder must have completed an SLCC that is similar to the procurement project to be bid, and whose value adjusted to current prices using the PSA consumer price indices must be at least 50% of the ABC to be bid, provided that any change to the 50% requirement may be allowed, subject to the recommendation of the procuring entity, which shall be submitted to the GPPB for consideration. Provided further that contractors under small a and small b categories without similar experience on the procurement project to be bid may be allowed to bid if the cost of such contract is not more than the allowable range of contract cost of the registration, based on the guidelines as prescribed by the PCAB. Moreover, a contract shall be considered similar to the procurement project if it has the same major categories of work. The procuring entity may clarify in the bidding documents what is regarded as major categories of work guided by the principle of proportionality and fit-for-purpose approach. 52.4.2.5 The SLCC shall be supported by an owner's certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the CPES or a similar performance and monitoring system. In the case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. 52.4.2.6, the computation of a bidder's NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC to be bid, calculated as follows. NFCC is equal to current assets minus current liabilities times 15, minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the project under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the procurement project to be bid, provided that a different formula may be adopted subject to the recommendation of the procuring entity, which shall be submitted to the GPPB for consideration. The value of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest AFS submitted to the BIR. Submission and receipt of bids. The first bid envelope shall contain the following technical documents. Number 1. Field Job Certificate of Registration in accordance with Section 20 of Republic Act 12009. Number 2. Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Number 3. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided under the rules. Number 4. Special PCAB license in case of joint ventures. Number 5. Original copy of bid security. If in the form of a surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission, or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. Number 6. Project requirements, which shall include the following. A. Organizational chart for the contract to be bid. B. List of contractors' key personnel. Example, project manager, project engineers, material engineers, and foremen, to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience data. C. List of contractors' major equipment units, which are owned, leased, and or under purchase agreements, supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project, as the case may be. 7. Original duly signed omnibus warrant statement in accordance with Section 54.3 of this IRR. Number 8. ISO 9001:2015 certification requirement for large and medium contractors for project above 30 million. Number 9. Latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. Number 10. The prospective bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity, and number 11, if applicable, duly signed joint venture agreement in accordance with Republic Act No. 4566 and its IRR. The second bid envelope shall contain the financial documents. 1. Original or duly signed and accomplished financial bid form. 2. Original or duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities. 3. Duly accomplished detailed estimate form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up the bid. And number 4, cash flow by quarter. Form of bid security. Bid validity period 120 CD from the date of submission of bids. Bid security validity period 120 CD from the date of submission of bids. Form of bid security. A. Cash or cashier's or manager's check issued by a bank. For biddings conducted by LGUs, the cashier's or manager's check may be issued by other 2% banks certified by the BSP as authorized to issue such financial instrument. Amount of bid security 2%. B. Bank draft or guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by a bank, provided, however, that it shall be confirmed or authenticated by a bank if issued by a foreign bank. For biddings conducted by LGUs, bank draft or guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit may be issued by other banks certified 5% by the BSP as authorized to issue financial instrument. Amount of bid security 5%. C. Surety bond callable upon demand issued by a surety or insurance company certified duly 5% by Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security. Amount of bid security 5%. D. Bid securing declaration. Amount of bid security not applicable.
Three and 26A 00085, the major categories of work is bridges retrofitting, concrete superstructure without pipes. With the contract similar to the project shall be those described as follows. We have the BCCWOP, BCCDP, BCCCP, BRHCWOP, BRHCDP, and BRHCCP.
Bid evaluation. The ABC shall be the upper limit or ceiling for acceptable bid prices. If a bid price as evaluated and calculated in accordance with this IRR is higher than the ABC, the bidder submitting the same shall be automatically disqualified. There shall be no lower limit or floor on the amount of the award. Members of the BAC, its staff and personnel, Secretariat, and TWG, as well as observers, are prohibited from making or accepting any communication with any bidder regarding the evaluation of their bids until the issuance of the notice of award. However, the BAC through its Secretariat may ask the bidder in writing for a clarification of its bid. All responses to request for clarification shall be in writing. The BAC shall evaluate the financial component of the bids to determine the lowest calculated bid using the following steps. Number 1. The BAC shall immediately conduct a detailed evaluation of all bids using non-discretionary criteria to consider the following. A. Completeness of the bid. Unless the instructions to bidders specifically allow partial bids, bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents, including, where applicable, bill of quantities, shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. However, when no price or a zero or a dash is indicated in a required item in the bid form, the same shall be construed that is being offered for free to the government, except those required by law or regulations to be provided for. And letter B, Arithmetical corrections. The BAC shall consider computational errors and omissions to enable proper comparison of all eligible bids. It may also consider bid modifications if expressly allowed in the bidding documents. Any adjustment shall be calculated in monetary terms to determine the calculated prices. 2. The BAC shall evaluate all bids on an equal footing to ensure fair and competitive bid comparison. For this purpose, all bidders shall be required to include the cost of all taxes, such as but not limited to value-added tax, income tax, local taxes, or other fiscal levies and duties, if applicable, which shall be itemized in the bid form and reflected in the detailed estimates. Such bids, including said taxes, shall be the basis for the bid, evaluation, and comparison. Number 3. In case of discrepancies between bid prices in figures and in words, the latter shall prevail. Total price per item and unit price for the item as extended for multiplied by the quantity of that item, the latter shall prevail. Stated total price and the actual sum of prices of component items, the latter shall prevail. Unit cost in the detailed estimate and unit cost of the bill of quantities, the latter shall prevail. And amount in price, schedule, and in the bid form, the latter shall prevail. Number 4. Bids shall then be ranked in ascending order of their total calculated bid prices, as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications to identify the LCB. Total calculated bid prices as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications which exceed the ABC shall be disqualified. Number 5. The entire evaluation process for the procurement of goods and infrastructure projects using LCB as criteria shall be completed within 7 calendar days from the deadline for receipt of proposals. Post-qualification. Number 1. The bidder with the LCB shall undergo post-qualification to determine whether the bidder concerned complies with and is responsive to all requirements and conditions as specified in the bidding documents. Number 2. Within 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the BAC that the bidder has the LCB, the bidder shall submit all the eligibility documents supporting its field job certificate of registration, its latest income and business tax returns filed for the preceding quarter, which should not be earlier than 2 quarters from the date of submission and receipt of bids, and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the bidding documents. Failure to submit any of post-qualification requirements on time or a finding against the veracity thereof shall disqualify the bidder for award, provided that in the event that a finding against the veracity of any of the documents submitted is made, it shall be cause the forfeiture of the bid security in accordance with Article 21 of the Act and this IRR. 63.3. During post-qualification, the BAC shall verify and validate the veracity, authenticity, and validity of all the eligibility documents supported the field job certificate of registration and all the other statements made and documents submitted by the bidder with the LCB using non-discretionary criteria as stated in bidding documents. This criteria shall consider, but shall not be limited to the following. A. Legal requirements. To verify, validate, and ascertain licenses, certificates, permits, and agreements submitted by the bidder, and the fact that it is not included in any blacklist as provided in Section 54 of this IRR. For this purpose, the GPPB shall maintain a portal which contains the consolidated file of all blacklisted contractors. B. Technical requirements. To verify and validate the bidder's stated compliance with the requirements specified in the bidding documents. C. Financial requirements. To verify and validate the bid price proposal of the bidder and, whenever applicable, the required committed line of credit in the amount specified in over the period stipulated in the bidding documents, or the bidder's NFCC, to ensure that the bidder can sustain the opening cash flow of the transaction. 63.4. If the BAC determines that the bidder with the LCB passes all the criteria for post-qualification, it shall declare the said bid as the LCRB or HRRB. 63.8. The post-qualification process shall be completed in not more than 12 calendar days from the determination of the LCB. In exceptional cases, the post-qualification period may be extended by the HOPE, but in no case shall the aggregate period exceed 45 calendar days. Contract Award. The BAC shall recommend to the HOPE the award of contract to the bidder with the LCRB as the case may be after the post-qualification process has been completed, within a period not exceeding 10 calendar days from the determination and declaration through a resolution by the BAC of the LCRB as the case may be, and the recommendation of the award, the HOPE or its duly authorized representative shall approve or disapprove the said recommendation. In case of approval, the HOPE or its duly authorized representative shall immediately issue the notice of award to the bidder with the LCRB. In the event that the approving authority shall disapprove the resolution on the award of contract, such disapproval shall be based only on valid, reasonable, and justifiable grounds as enumerated under Section 70 to be expressed in writing. A copy of the decision disapproving the resolution shall be furnished to the BAC and the bidder. 66.4. When applicable, the BAC shall conduct a post-qualification of the bidder with the next LCB as provided in Section 63.7 of this IRR. A request for reconsideration may be filed by the bidder with the HOPE within 3 calendar days from the receipt of the notice of disapproval or the explanation for the inaction. The HOPE shall resolve with finality the request for reconsideration within 7 calendar days from the filing thereof and furnish the bidder a copy of the resolution immediately from its promulgation. In no case shall the request for reconsideration stay or delay the bidding process. However, the request for reconsideration must first be resolved before any award is made. Contract Award. The BAC shall recommend to the HOPE calendar days contract from to the bidder with the LCRB as the case may be after the post-qualification process has been completed, within a period not exceeding 10 calendar days from the determination and declaration.
Contract award. Contract award. Contract award.
Contract award. The bank shall recommend to the Hope the award of contract to the bidder with the LC or B as the case may be after the post-qualification process has been completed, within a period not exceeding 10 calendar days from the determination and declaration through a resolution by the back of the LCRB as the case may be, and the recommendation of the award, the Hope or its duly authorized representative shall approve or disapprove the said recommendation. In case of approval, the Hope or its duly authorized representative shall immediately issue the notice of award to the bidder with the LCRB. In the event that the approving authority shall disapprove the resolution on the award of contract, such disapproval shall be based only on valid, reasonable, and justifiable grounds as enumerated under Section 70 to be expressed in writing. A copy of the decision disapproving the resolution shall be furnished to the back and the bidder. 66.4 When applicable, the back shall conduct a post-qualification of the bidder with the next LCB as provided in Section 63.7 of this IRR. A request for reconsideration may be filed by the bidder with the Hope within 3 calendar days from the receipt of the notice of disapproval or the explanation for the inaction. The Hope shall resolve with finality the request for reconsideration within 7 calendar days from the filing thereof and furnish the bidder a copy of the resolution immediately from its promulgation. In no case shall the request for reconsideration stay or delay the bidding process. However, the request for reconsideration must first be resolved before any award is made. Contract award. The bank shall recommend to the Hope the award of contract to the bidder with the LC or B as the case may be after the post-qualification process has been completed, within a period not
Common
exceeding
reason.
10 calendar for days rejection of B.
Within 10 calendar days from received by the winning bidder of the notice of award, the following conditions should be complied before the contract may be awarded. Notice of award with the bidder side performing performance security in any of the forms specified in the instruction to bidders, construction methods, construction schedule in the form of precedence diagram, bar chart with S-curve and cash flow, on-power schedule, equipment utilization schedule, construction of safety and health program, contractors all risk insurance, certification under oath stating that the contractor is free and clean of all tax liabilities.
Common reasons for rejection of bids and eligibility and post-disqualification of bidder. Failure to submit original copy of the surety bond certified by the Insurance Commission indicating the name of project, the procuring entity, and name of contractor. Shorter bid validity and bid security validity period. Failure to declare all its ongoing government and private contracts awarded but not yet started. Overlapping of pledged equipment and committed key technical personnel. Failure to indicate the validity of bid in the bid form. Late submission of bid. Failure to submit supporting document, example, proof of ownership, certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project if equipment pledge is to leased or purchased. Negative slippage in the ongoing project, negative 15% or more, or negative 10% in each of 2 or more ongoing projects. Unsatisfactory CPES rating. Not using the standard forms attached in the Philippine bidding documents. False or misleading declarations in eligibility documents. Purchase of bidding documents. The bidders or contractors shall provide any of the following documents before purchasing bidding documents. 1. Company ID or any government-issued ID. 2. Authorization letter. If not an authorized liaison officer in the CWA, special power of attorney for sole proprietorship, or board or partnership or joint venture resolution with secretary's certificate for corporation or partnership or joint venture or cooperative. 3. Letter of intent for foreign funded projects. Common errors in the submission of bids. Authority of the signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder. First, single proprietor. Signatory should be the owner or proprietor only. Second, corporation or cooperative. Board secretary's certificate and board resolution. Third, joint venture. Joint venture resolution or agreement. Fourth, partnership, as indicated in the articles of partnership. Department Orders and Memorandum. Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012. Technical requirements for civil works projects for public bidding. Department Order Number 58, Series of 2012. Inclusion of material data on the pledged equipment of a bidder in his bid documents. Department Order Number 11, Series of 2017. Inclusion of the minimum materials testing equipment in the technical component of the bid. Department Order Number 110, Series of 2024. Implementation of 9001-2015 of ISO certification requirement for large A, medium B, and medium A contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects of the department. Department Order Number 169, Series of 2025, Guidelines on the Accreditation and Assignment of Contractors and Consultants Project Engineers. Memorandum 097.7-111-925, Directive to require submission of General Information Sheet reflecting beneficial ownership information and sworn affidavit of eligibility and beneficial ownership as part of the bidding documents.
For contract ID number 25A 00566, 26A 00007, 73, 79, 26A 0082, 83 and 85, the deadline for submission of clarification is 10 days before the submission of bids. The deadline for submission of bids is on July 6, 2026 at 10 o'clock AM. Number of copies of the proposal, 2 original copies of the first and the second components of its bid. In the place of submission of bids, Bids and Awards Committee, second floor conference room, DPWH Regional Office 1, City of San Fernando, La Union. So that answered the presentation of the pre-bid conference for the 7 civil works project.
It's something on the but really conference for the consultancy.
So for the pre-bid conference for the 3 consulting services, we have 26 CSE 006, the consulting services for geotechnical investigation of various bridge projects in the province of Pangasinan. 26 CSE 007, consulting services for geotechnical investigation of bridges along bypass and diversion roads, Bigan, Cabugao Coastal Diversion Road, Barangay Mindoro, Pantay, Laod, Bigan, Barangay Kamitaugan, Santa Catalina Section, Ilocos, 26 CSE 008, consulting services for geotechnical investigation of CPAD, access routes and or bridges from the national roads leading to major strategic public buildings, facilities, construction of Kinipor Bridge along Salcedo del Pilar, Sigay Road, Salcedo, Ilocos.
Pre-bid conference. The pre-bid conference shall be held at least 12 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids, but not earlier than 7 calendar days from the PhilJEP's posting of the invitation to bid or bidding documents. The pre-bid conference shall discuss, clarify, and explain, among other things, the eligibility requirements and the technical and financial components of the procurement project, including questions and clarifications raised by the prospective bidders before and during the pre-bid conference. Request for clarifications on any part of the bidding documents or for an interpretation must be in writing and submitted to the back of the procuring entity concerned at least 10 calendar days before the deadline set for the submission and receipt of bids. The BAC shall respond to the said request by issuing a bid bulletin, duly signed by the BAC chairperson, to be made available to all those who have properly secured the bidding documents at least 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. For purpose of clarifying and modifying any provisions of the bidding documents, bid bulletins may be issued upon the procuring entity's initiative at least 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. Any modification to the bidding documents shall be identified as an amendment. Any bid bulletin issued by the BAC shall also be posted in the PhilJEPs in any conspicuous place in the premises of the procuring entity and on the website or social platforms of the procuring entity if available, or such other channels as may be authorized by the GPPB. It shall be the responsibility of all those who have properly secured the bidding documents to inquire and secure bid bulletins that may be issued by the BAC. However, bidders who have submitted bids before the issuance of the bid bulletin must be informed and allowed to modify or withdraw their bids in accordance with the Section 55 of this IRR, Section 51.5.3 of IRR of Republic Act 12009.
There are the following contract data for 26 CSE 006, location Pangasinan, with the funding source SR 2026-04-004258 and the ABC is 2,029,304 pesos and 01 centavos for the scope of work shall be soil boring exploration, 14 boreholes, 13-meter depth, with the contract duration of 30 calendar days. $26,007 location, province of Ilocos Sur. Funding source SR 2026-04-004258 with the EPC of 2,029,304 pesos and 01 centavos. For the scope of work, soil boring exploration of 14 boreholes, 13-meter depth, with the contract duration of 30 calendar days. $26,008 location Salcedo Luxur, and the funding source SR 2026-04-004258 and the EDC of 957,862.11 for the scope of work soil boring exploration, 14 boreholes, 13 meters depth, the contract duration of 12 calendar days. Here are the documents comprising the bid for the technical proposal. We have the technical proposal shall not include any financial information. Any technical proposal containing financial information shall be declared non-responsive. For projects on a staff time basis, the estimated number of professional staff months specified in the bid data sheet shall be complied with. This shall, however, be based on the number of professional staff months estimated by the bidder. Proposed professional staff must, at a minimum, have the experience indicated in the bid data sheet, preferably working under conditions similar to those prevailing in the Republic of the Philippines. No alternative professional staff shall be proposed, and only one curriculum vitae may be submitted for each position. The technical proposal shall contain the following information documents. Technical proposal submission form shall be covered in the cover letter of the technical proposal using the form prescribed in Section 7. Philippine bidding documents related forms or TPF1. Build certificate of registration, platinum membership in accordance with Section 20 of the IRR, bid security as prescribed in ITB Clause 16 and validity period under ITB Clause 15. Information indicated in the paragraphs below must be provided by the consultant and each partner in following the formats described in technical proposal forms. A brief description of the organization and outline of recent experience of the consultant and each partner. Any on projects of a similar and related natures as required in Form TPF2. Consultants' preferences for each project. The outline should indicate, among other things, the project contract amount and the consultant's involvement. Information should be provided only for those projects for which the consultant was legally contracted by itself or as one of the major participating consultants within an association. Whenever applicable, the experience of individual experts from projects completed independently or when associated with consultants other than the one with whom the individual is currently associated with cannot be claimed as the experience of the parent consultant or any one of its partners, but can be claimed by the individuals themselves in their curriculum details. Consultants should be prepared to substantiate the claimed experience if so requested by the procuring entity. Comments, if any, on the DOR, DF3, DPF3, comments and suggestions of consultant on the terms of reference and on data services and facilities to improve performance in carrying out the project. Innovativeness shall be appreciated, including workable suggestions that could improve the quality or effectiveness of the project. Disregard, unless the consultant clearly states otherwise, it shall be assumed by the procuring entity that the work required to implement any such improvements is included in the inputs shown in the consultant's staffing schedule. It shall include a list of facilities requested by the consultant to be provided by the procuring entity, any addition to those shown on the data sheet that may include support facilities such as the counterpart staff, office space, local transportation, equipment, domestic administrative support, etc., that would be needed to carry out the project. A concise, complete, and logical description of how the consultant's team shall carry out the services to meet all requirements of the TOR using the TPF4 description of the methodology and work plan for performing the project. An organization chart of the key and support staff indicating their tasks in the project using the TPF5, team composition and tasks. The name, age, nationality, background, employment record, and professional experience of each nominated expert, including ongoing projects, with particular reference to the type of experience required for the task assigned should be represented in the CV format shown in PPF6. Format of curriculum vitae for the proposed professional staff, only one duly authorized curriculum vitae for each consultant involved in the project may be submitted for each position. The procuring entity requires that each expert confirm that the content of each CV is correct, and the experts themselves should sign this certification of the CV. In addition, the experts should submit a signed written commitment stating that the expert shall work for the project once awarded the contract. The zero rating shall be given to a nominated expert if the expert is proposed for a domestic position but is not a Filipino citizen, fail to state nationality on the curriculum vitae, or the curriculum vitae is not signed in accordance with paragraph 5 above. A time schedule, TPF7, time schedule for professional personnel indicating clearly the estimated duration in terms of person months shown separately for work in the field and in the home office, and the proposed timing of each input for each nominated expert, including domestic experts, if required, using the format shown. The schedule shall also indicate when experts are working in the project office and when they are working at locations as away from the project office. A work plan showing in graphical format, bar chart, the timing of major activities, anticipated coordination meetings and deliverables, such as reports required under TOR using the PPFE activity work schedule, omnibus sworn statement, and using the form prescribed in Section 7 Philippine bidding document. Documents comprising the bid, the financial proposal, all information provided in the consultant's financial proposal shall be treated as confidential. The financial proposal must be submitted manually or through online submission using the format shown in the financial proposal forms. The financial proposal requires the completion of 6 forms, particularly FPF1, FPF2, FPF3, FPF4, 5, 6. For FPF1 financial proposal submission form should form the covering letter of the financial proposal, FPF2, summary of cost. FPF3, breakdown of price per activity. FPF4, breakdown of remuneration per activity. FPF5, reimbursables per activity. FPF6, miscellaneous expenses relate to the cost of consulting services under two distinct categories, namely remuneration, reimbursable expenditures. Remuneration is divided into billing rate estimates for international and domestic consultants. Reimbursable expenditures are divided into per diem rates for international and domestic consultants and costs for other reimbursable expenditure items required to perform the consulting services. The list of experts and their respective inputs identified in financial proposal forms must match the list of experts and their respective inputs shown in technical proposal forms. The consultant shall be subject to Philippine taxes on amounts payable by the procuring entity under the contract through mandated withholding by local tax authorities of specified percentages of such amounts or otherwise. The bid data sheet details the taxes payable. The financial proposal should clearly estimate as a separate amount the local taxes to the social security, duties, fees, levies, and other charges imposed under the applicable law on the consultants and its personnel, other than Philippine nationals or permanent residents of the Philippines. Unless otherwise provided in the bid data sheet, total calculated bid prices as evaluated and corrected for minor arithmetical corrections, such as computational errors which exceed the ABC, shall not be considered. The evaluation of the technical proposal. The BAC shall then conduct a detailed evaluation of technical proposal following the procedures specified in the bid data sheet, depending on the evaluation procedure identified in the request for the expression of interest and IPB clause 1.1. The BAC evaluates the technical proposals on the basis of their compliance with the requirement under ITB clause 12 and responsiveness to the TOR using the following criteria: quality of personnel to be assigned to the project, which covers the suitability of key staff to perform the duties of the particular assignments, and general qualifications and competence, including education and training of the key staff, experience and capability of the consultant, which include the records of previous engagement and quality of performance in similar and in other projects, relationship with previous and current clients, and overall work commitments, geographical distribution of current or impending projects, and attention to be given by the consultant, the experience of the consultant. The project shall consider both the overall experiences of the firm and the individual experiences of the principal and key staff, including times when employed by the other consultants, and plan of approach and methodology with emphasis on the clarity, feasibility, innovativeness, and comprehensiveness of the plan of approach and the quality of interpretation of project problems, risks, and suggested solutions. The BAC shall assign numerical weights and the minimum required technical score to each of the above criteria, which shall be indicated in the bid data sheet. A bid shall be rejected at this stage if it does not respond to important aspects of the BOR or if it fails to achieve the minimum technical score indicated in the bid data sheet. Technical proposals shall not be considered for evaluation in any of the following cases: the examination of the For example, after the deadline set in the ITB Clause 19, failure to submit any of the technical requirements provided under this ITB and TOR, the consultant that submitted a bid or the consultant that submitted a bid or any of its partners belongs to one of the conflict of interest cases as described in ITB clauses 5.1A to I and failed to make a proper statement with that effect in the cover letter or the technical proposal included any cost of the services. Opening and evaluation of financial proposals. Financial proposals shall be opened on the date indicated in the bid data sheet. The financial proposals open shall be evaluated based on the evaluation procedure indicated in ITB Clause 1.1 using the corresponding procedure provided in the bid data sheet. The bank shall assign numerical weights in the minimum. The following process for the opening and evaluation of bids shall be adopted. The technical proposal together with the financial proposal shall be considered in the ranking of consultants. For the three consulting services, for the evaluation, we will be conducting a quality cost-based evaluation, wherein the technical proposal together with the financial proposal shall be considered in the ranking of consultants. The technical proposals shall be evaluated first using the criteria in ITB Clause 26.2. The financial proposals of the consultants who meet the minimum technical score shall then be opened. The financial and technical proposals shall be given corresponding weights, with the financial proposal given a minimum weight of 15% up to a maximum of 40%. The weight of the technical criteria shall be adjusted accordingly such that their total weight in percent together with the weight given to the financial proposal shall add to 100%. The exact weights shall be approved by the whole upon the recommendation of the bank and indicated in the bidding documents. The bank shall rank the consultants in descending order based on the combined numerical ratings of their technical and financial proposals and identify the HRP. The hope shall approve or disapprove the recommendations of the bank within 2 calendar days after receipt of the results of the evaluation from the bank. After approval of the hope of the HRP, the bank shall within 3 calendar days invite the consultant with the HRP for negotiation in accordance with ITB Clause 20. So we have issued 3 supplemental bulletins for the quality cost-based evaluation for 26 CSA 006, 7, and 8. For the opening and evaluation of financial proposals shall be open on the date indicated in the bid data sheet. The financial proposals open shall be evaluated based on the evaluation procedure indicated in ITB Clause 1.1 using the corresponding procedure provided in the bid data sheet. Negotiations with the consultant that submitted the HRP shall be held at the address indicated in the bid data sheet. The aim is to reach agreement on all points. Negotiations shall cover the following: discussion and clarification of the TOR and scope of services, discussion and finalization of the methodology and work program proposed by the consultant, consideration of appropriateness of qualifications and pertinent compensation, number of months, and the personnel to be assigned in the job, taking note of qualified personnel to be commensurate with the compensation of personnel with the appropriate qualifications, number of man-months, and schedule of activities, managed schedule, discussion on services, facilities, and data need to be provided by procuring entity concerned, unless otherwise indicated in the bid data sheet, discussion on the financial proposal submitted by the consultant, and provision of the contract. Except for meritorious reasons, negotiations with the consultant shall be completed within 10 calendar days. For the post-qualification, the bank shall determine to its satisfaction whether the consultant that is evaluated as having submitted the HRD complies with and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions specified in the short listing documents and ITB clause 12 and 13. The consultant within 5 calendar days from receipt of notice from the bank that it submitted the HRD shall submit all the eligibility documents supporting its field debt, certificate of registration, platinum membership, its latest income and business tax returns filed for the preceding quarter, which should not be earlier than 2 quarters from the date of submission and receipt of bid, and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law stated in the bid data sheet. Failure to submit any of the post-qualification requirements on time or finding against the veracity thereof shall disqualify the consultant for award, provided that in the event that the finding against the veracity of any of the documents submitted is made, it shall cause the forfeiture of the bid security. During post-qualification, the bank shall verify and validate the veracity, authenticity, and validity of all the eligibility documents supporting the field debt, certificate of registration, platinum membership, and all of the other statement made and documents submitted by the consultant with the HRD using non-discretionary criteria stated in the bidding documents. The determination shall be based upon an examination of the documentary evidence of the consultant's qualification submitted pursuant to ITB clause 12 and 13, as well as other information as the procuring entity deems necessary and appropriate. Using a non-discretionary pass-fail criterion, which shall be completed within a period of 12 calendar days from the completion of the negotiation with the consultant that submitted the HRD. In exceptional cases, the post-qualification period may be extended by the hope, but in no case shall exceed 30 calendar days. If the bank determines that the consultant with the HRD passes all the criteria for post-qualification, shall declare the said bid as the consultant with the HRRD and recommend to the whole the award of contract to the said bidder at bid price or its negotiated price, whichever is lower, and subject to compliance with ITB clause 31.3. We have the reservation clause, notwithstanding the eligibility, shortlisting, or post-qualification of a consultant, and without incurring any liability, the hope or its duly authorized representative at any stage of the procurement reserves the right to review its qualifications, reject any all of bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award the contract in the following situation. If it has reasonable grounds to believe that a misrepresentation has been made by the said consultant, or that there has been a change in the consultant's capability to undertake this project from the time submitted his eligibility requirements. Should such review uncover any misrepresentation made in the eligibility and bidding requirements, statement or documents, or any changes in the situation of the consultant, which will affect its capability to undertake the project so that it fails the present eligibility or bid evaluation criteria, the procuring entity shall consider the said consultant as ineligible and shall disqualify it from submitting a bid or from obtaining an award or contract. For the form of bid security, the bid validity period and the security validity period is 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. For the form of bid security, we have the cash or cashier's manager's check, which is 2%. Of the BC bank draft guarantee is 5%. Surety fund, 5% of the ABC or the bid security declaration, not applicable. For the contract award, subject to ITB Clause 29, the hope or its authorized representative shall award the contract to the consultant whose bid has been determined to be the HRRD. Prior to the expiration of the period of bid validity, the procurement entity shall notify the successful consultant in writing that its bid has been accepted through a notice of award duly received by the consultant or its authorized representative, personally or by registered mail or electronically, receipt of which must be confirmed in writing within 2 days by consultant with the HRRB and submitted personally or sent by registered mail or electronically to the procuring entity. Within 10 calendar days from receipt by the winning consultant of the notice of award, the following conditions should be complied with before the contract may be awarded. Submission of the following documents: valid joint venture agreement if applicable, or SEC certificate of registration of the foreign corporation, or the SEC certificate of registration of the foreign consulting firm, and or the authorization or license issued by the appropriate government agency or professional regulatory body of the foreign professionals engaging the best practice of regulated professions and allied professions where applicable. Posting of the performance security in accordance with ITB Clause 33. Signing of the contract as provided in ITB Clause 32. Signing of the contract within 10 calendar days from the receipt of the notice of award, the winning consultant shall post the required performance security and sign and date the contract and return to the procuring entity. The procuring entity shall enter into contract with the successful consultant within the same 10 calendar day period, provided that all the documentary requirements are complied with. The following documents shall form part of the contract: contract agreement, meaning documents, winning consultants bid, including the technical and financial proposals and all other documents, statements submitted, performance security, notice of award of contract, and other contract documents that may be required by existing laws and or as specified in the bid data sheet. For the purchase of bidding documents, the bidder contractors shall provide any of the following documents before purchasing bidding documents: company ID or a government issued ID, authorization letter, and the letter of intent for foreign funded projects. For the common errors in the submission of bids, authority of the signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder, single proprietor. Signatory should be the owner proprietor only, corporation, cooperative, board secretary certificate, and board resolution, joint venture resolution or agreement, partnership as indicated in the articles of partnership. So for these following consulting services, 26 CSA 006, 007, and 0008. The deadline for submission of clarifications 10 days before submission of bids. The drafting of bids will be on July 6, 2026 at 10 o'clock a.m. The opening of bids, July 6, 2026 for the technical, and July 8, 2026 for the financial at 10 o'clock a.m. Bids and awards committee, second floor conference room, DPWH Office 1, Aguila Road, Barangay Sevilla, City of San Fernando. So that answered the presentation of the pre-bid conference for the 3 consulting services.
And that's all for today, the conference for the civil works and consultancy. Any for an hour agenda? Thank you. Pamoy Dili.
Sir, we have the evaluation of our.
Okay, thank you. The activities for today is now adjourned. Thank you and.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you for attending the briefing conference.